You are listening to the Estheticians Or More podcast with Brittany Hageman, episode number 195. Do you want to double your business in 1 year? Are you an esthetician solo business owner that is very, very tired because you are working for every single dollar that you earn? Are you making between $5,000 and $7,000 a month consistently in your esthetician business? And the only way that you can see that you can make more money is to add more hours? Is the money going out of your business just as fast as it's coming in? Do you feel like you're on the verge of burnout? Do you not understand how other estheticians can actually make a profit? If you say yes to any of these questions, I can help you. In my one-to-one 6-month individualized coaching program, I will teach you to double your business in 1 year. I combine proven strategies and business systems along with mindset coaching to teach you how to change the systems in your business that aren't making you money. My clients that have incorporated all of these systems into their business consistently have seen phenomenal results. If you're interested in working with me, use the link in the show notes. I cannot wait to meet you. Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome back. I'm actually recording this the day that it's going to be published. It's just one of those weeks. Also, that means it's Monday, and if you're one of my clients or if you follow me on Instagram, you may know that Mondays is the day that they do the yard work outside of my home, and it's loud. So I apologize if you hear some mowing or weed whacking in the background. I sat down to record the podcast, and I was like, oh, this is why I don't record on Mondays, so sorry about that if that's the case. I also am dealing with a lot of allergies. The pollen in Georgia is insane. And so I sound sick, but I'm not. It's just allergies. Thank God I'm not sick again. Okay, so let's get into today's episode. We are still talking about pricing and the importance of having pricing that actually will have a profit for you. We don't want to be working so hard that we don't make any money. Of course, there's certain exceptions to this where it is advantageous to have pricing that is sales or things like that to get people in, but it's not what we want our prices just to be forever. When I first start working with clients one-to-one, one of the first things I always look at their business is their pricing. And I will say most of my clients that I work with, their prices are too low. However, I've had some clients recently in the last few months that start with me. Their prices are really good, and I was so proud of them, so we didn't have to really go over that. But for generally speaking, I would say most estheticians, when they start working with me, the pricing is the first thing that needs to change. And there's a lot of fear around raising your prices, and I understand because I have been there. I have been there when I had my esthetician business in San Diego. I've been there with this business as well. And I think we only look at the negative of raising prices. And it creates a lot of fear and uncertainty. And so we don't do it because we only assume the worst case scenario. And the worst case scenario is nobody ever comes back. They get mad at you, right? People think that you're bougie, that all you care about is money. But today, in today's episode, what we're going to talk about is what really actually happens when you raise your prices. The first thing when you raise your prices in your esthetician business that always happens is you will lose clients that you don't want or that cannot afford you. And I'm not talking about $100 price raise on each service. I'm talking about $5 to $10, maybe $15. So I always say, if someone can afford you, if you add $5 or $10 to that, they can still afford that. It's not such a massive raise that now all of a sudden you're out of their price range. If you raised $100, yes, that people naturally could not afford you anymore that could afford you $100 less. But if you raise $5 or $10, there is no scenario that is believable to me that they can no longer afford you now. Now, people may say that. People may believe that. but it's simply not true. It's simply not true. And sure, someone's like, well, you're already at the top of my budget and now you've raised your prices $10. And so now that puts me over. That may be what they believe, but it's $10. $10. Think about what you can get for $10. You can get a Starbucks coffee and like a Starbucks latte and a muffin for $10. Maybe not even $10. Maybe that's like $11. There's so many things that we could spend $10 on so easily. You go to Costco, you spend $10 in 30 seconds, right? Like, let's keep thinking about all the things that cost $10 that if someone is getting a facial service, they can afford, or they're getting lashes, or they're getting sugaring done. Now, I'm going to say something that may be uncomfortable for you to hear, but if someone is getting services from an esthetician, they are paying for a luxury. Now, I know if you feel like you do acne, that's not the case, and I feel that deeply. I do. I have felt that deeply. But like I've said before on this podcast, when I suffered from acne in my 20s, I did not go to estheticians and expect them to have cheap prices so that they could fix my acne. That was never an expectation I had. I couldn't pay my bills. I was working 3 jobs. I was very tight budget. And nowhere in my wildest dreams would I have expected to go to an esthetician and get my skin cleared for like no money at all. Because it just doesn't make any sense. It was of course it's a luxury to go see an esthetician. Of course it's something that not everyone will value or afford or be able to put in their budget. And of course there are people that you love that cannot afford you. But I wouldn't even say, I think we need to even question that thought that they can't afford you. No. They can't afford getting esthetician services done. It's just not on their budget. Like, people get Botox. It has never been in my budget. Could I afford it? Sure. I would have to give up other things in my life so I could get Botox. It's not something that I could just add to my budget. No big deal. Like $10, right? It's not 10 extra dollars. So I have never gotten Botox. It's never been a priority for me. It may be in 10 or 5 years. We don't know. I just turned 40, so it's very possible. But it's a luxury that is not required. People may tell you Botox is required. Just like people may tell you what you do is required for them. But they don't need it to survive. And if they are getting a $110 facial from you, they can spend $120. Again, I still tell a lot of my clients this when they're raising their prices. I laugh because I wasn't surprised it happened, but I kind of also was at the same time. When I opened my esthetician business in San Diego, I opened my prices pretty similar to the woman that I had worked for before, because I had a lot of people following me. But her prices were too low. My prices working for her were too low. She wasn't making any money from me being her employee. And within a year, probably within 6 months, I raised my prices just $5. $5. And I had a client who I was using SkinScript enzymes at the time, which at the time were probably around $40 for me to buy wholesale, maybe more. And this client that definitely could afford her job. She had a job that was not, making a minimum wage. She was making pretty good money. She could definitely afford I think I was charging $90 for a facial at the time. This was many years ago. And I raised my price is $5. And she told me I was too expensive. She couldn't come back because she said that, and she also didn't think that it was worth that much money because she looked up she knew what enzymes I used, the company, and she looked it up and she said that it couldn't have cost that much money. I'm telling you this not to freak you out and you're like, oh no, this is going to happen to me. I'm telling you this because this is what people will say. This is the crazy things people will say to you. And that does happen. But you know what? I found like 10 other people who were happy to pay that price and more and didn't blink an eye because it was $5 extra. It's okay if people don't want to pay what you need to charge to make a profit. Now, again, if you raise your prices $100, that's going to be harder to find people who are willing to pay that much. It's not impossible. It's just a completely different challenge. But if I had to guess, you need to raise your prices slightly to make more of a profit, and your current clientele can afford it. Okay, the second thing that happens when you raise your prices in your esthetician business is you become face to face with the ownership, the role you have as the CEO, owner of your business. You become empowered that you are a business owner. You are not a charity. You are not a nonprofit. I've seen this shift happen with so many of my clients where they raise their prices, they start making more money. Their clients are very happy. No one's, again, no one is being put out. And they're like, oh, I can make money in my business. This is an actual business. This isn't just me hoping that I can kind of pay my bills with this. And I see almost like a bloom effect where people really fully come into themselves and they're like, yeah, I own a business. It's a really cool thing. And even if you raise your prices every year when you raise your prices $5 or $10, this happens. It's incredible. Another thing that happens when you raise your prices in your business, generally, this is a general average that I see, my clients that raise their prices that are fully booked or near fully booked make an average of $1,000 more a month without doing anything different. That $5 or $10 per service, or 15 in some cases, can average in $1,000 more. It's incredible. And again, that is the goal, is to make profit, is to make money. If you are uncomfortable with that, then you absolutely have to come to my workshop and maybe be my client, because every year your goal should be to make more money, not just the business, but you yourself, to be able to pay yourself more money. And adding $1,000 to your revenue is a great thing to do. And it's not a big change for your clients. Again, this is average. This is definitely not a guarantee. Please don't be like, you promised this. I did not promise it. This is just an average that I've seen consistently. This is what my clients will tell me. Or we look at their numbers at the end of the month after they've raised their prices. This is generally what happens. So if you are fully booked, you can do the math. You can figure out if you raise your prices $10, $5, whatever, you can see how much more money you would make if you were fully booked in March. How much more money you would have made if you raised your prices that much. Another thing that happens when you raise your prices is that I would say 99% of your clients do not care. Do not care, and they are actually happy for you, especially if it's been a few years since you've raised your prices. It is crazy how much drama we have about what our clients are going to think. And of course, there may be a client or two that's a bit salty. Maybe they leave. It does happen. Sometimes it doesn't. I've definitely seen my esthetician clients not always experience people that are frustrated, but I will say all of them have experienced more positive than negatives for raising their prices from their clients. And it's so interesting that I do the same thing, so don't think I'm judging you, but it's so interesting that we allow one or two people being a little irritated about us raising our prices as a deterrent to not raise our prices, when we would have 50 people that would be like, yeah, I'm so glad you raised your prices. It's been too long. You need to have raised your prices earlier. That is usually what I hear from my clients who raise their prices, that they hear from their clients, if you could follow that train of thought there. Okay, so summarize today's episode. What most people think are going to happen when you raise your prices in your esthetician business is that all your clients freak out, they hate you, and they leave. I have never heard of that happening. Instead, what ends up happening is estheticians are making more money, working less, clients are fine, it's not a huge price raise, and everything is like totally great. I understand still why this is a fear, and also how to communicate with your clients, and you love your clients and you want to keep that relationship going. So if this is something that you're okay, I know it won't be that big of a deal, but I still feel scared and I would like someone to hold my hand through it, then come to my profitable pricing workshop. If you're listening to this live, this is the last week to get early bird discount, and you will get the toolkit that talks through the formula that I recommend to help you raise your prices, scripts to use with your clients, all the things that you need. I plan to roll it out to your clients. It's a really great workshop, maybe one of the best workshops I've ever done. It's in the show notes if you want to come. And all my former and current one-on-one clients will get it for free. So if you're one of them, just let me know and I'll register you. Thank you so much for listening. Have a fantastic week. Bye for now.